Hello, my name is Mr. Cube7 and today I'm going to be talking about my experience with homebrew and modding video game consoles. So I started getting into homebrew with the Nintendo 3DS back when the way you would homebrew your system and install custom firmware was A9 loader hacks on, I believe, firmware version 11. That's when I started and got into the whole modding scene. And it was modding the 3DS back when it was A9 loader hacks. It wasn't the hardest thing ever. Probably took an hour to 2 hours depending on how much you knew how to do and stuff. And there was a chance that you could brick your console, and I almost bricked my brother's 3DS when I did it on his, but fortunately I was able to not brick it. But it was lots of fun to do it, and it opened up lots of possibilities of what you can do, because with homebrew you can do so much. And from there I decided to homebrew my Nintendo Wii, which is a pretty easy homebrew. All you need is an SD card and a PC and you can homebrew the system, so not difficult at all. And then I also homebrewed my Wii U, which isn't that hard either. The only downside about it is to get a consistent way to activate homebrew, you need to buy a game, though you can get ones for only like a few dollars. So yeah, most of my homebrew experience has been Nintendo consoles, and it's been fun. And I also remember when Boot 9 strap came out for the Nintendo 3DS, I updated all my systems to Boot 9 strap. I also decided to get a new Nintendo 3DS XL, whereas my old one was the old 3DS XL, so that, because the new one, you could stream your 3DS's screen to your PC over Wi-Fi, though it doesn't work very well due to the Nintendo 3DS's Wi-Fi being pretty bad. But you couldn't do that on the old 3DS, so I was excited to do that on my new one. And then also, games like Smash Brothers, which is what I played most on the 3DS back before Ultimate was a thing, loaded faster, and also you could overclock your Nintendo 3DS by just making it run faster because it had a faster processor. So those were all fun things to do, and once you hack your 3DS the first time, it isn't hard to do it again. And especially with Boot 9 strap, it made it even easier to do it. Which I don't remember exactly if my new one was on A9 loader hacks or if it was on Boot 9 strap, but they're both on Boot 9 strap now. Yeah, Wii homebrew hasn't changed at all, neither has Wii U homebrew. I also homebrewed my PSP, installed custom firmware on that. That was really easy. You just put an update file on a memory stick, and then you just install it, and bam, you're done. It's quite easy to do, unless you don't have a memory stick. But then it might be difficult. I don't know. And then I also have a homebrewed PS3, which I don't have custom firmware on it, but I have hybrid firmware. I just really wanted it to dump all my games so I could play them on RSPC3 on my computer, and it worked fine. I mean, almost all homebrew methods now work fine, and back in the day Nintendo used to push a lot of updates to try to break homebrew on the 3DS's, but they seem to have calmed down now with the Switch. And that leads me to the Switch, which I recently got a RCM jig, and since I bought my Switch back in 2018, I got a model that you can do RCM and get into custom firmware that way. And as of recording this, I've already gone and dumped all my games, all my system keys that you need to like play them, and done all that, so that's cool. So I will be playing around with Yuzu. I'm quite excited to test it out on my system and play some games in not low frame rates like Breath of the Wild, and not really Breath of the Wild because I see me for that, but Fire Emblem Three Houses, Link's Awakening remake. Those will be fun to play. And then using RCM and getting into like homebrewing the Switch I haven't installed custom firmware, and I don't. Well, the thing is that there's the Sysnand, there's Emunand, and Emunand is basically a copy of Sysnand, but they're separate. So what most people do is have the Sysnand completely normal, but then boot into an Emunand to do all their homebrew, so that they have a clean one and then a homebrewed one, so that they can. Because if you try to play online on an Emunand, you'll get banned. And your console, once it gets banned, it's permanently banned. There's no coming back. Though on the 3DS, if you got banned, you could. There was a program, Unban Me, that you could use to try to unban yourself. On the Switch, if you're banned, you're just banned. The console, it's just a goner. And me personally, I haven't seen much use to get an Emunand, or like make an Emunand and use it, because for me, I'm not like, I don't have much of a reason to use an Emunand and to play homebrew on my Switch, because yeah, there's some cool things, but I personally I don't want to risk getting banned from Nintendo, because I can't play Smash online. That's a game that I play a lot, is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I don't want to spend another, like $300, even though they're way more expensive right now, or like $200 if I were to get a Switch Lite, which I'm not, because I don't like them, to play Smash. So what I did was, to dump the games, you can just load into Hectate, and I think I'm saying that wrong, but Hecate, I think that's how you say it, Hecate, with RCM, and then dump your system's internal memory, and the games are just on your SD card unless they're on system memory. So like, those are easy to get. But the one thing that kind of scared me, I'd say, was I had to load into Atmosphere, which is a custom firmware for the Switch, in order to dump my cartridge games. So, and for me, about half of my games are cartridges, half of them are digital. So I got a little worried. I loaded into custom firmware on my Sysnand, and then my Switch connected to the Wi-Fi. And I was worried, oh no, it connected to the Wi-Fi. Nintendo could see that I'm on custom firmware and then ban me. And I immediately turned it into airplane mode and left it in airplane mode for the rest of my time in custom firmware as I dumped my cartridges. But oh boy, if you're planning to do what I did, which is load into Atmosphere in order to dump cartridge games, I would highly recommend going the normal firmware, enabling airplane mode, and then going to custom firmware, just to be safe. Because I mean, I don't know about you, you might be one of the people that have two Switches, so you have one that's just banned that you can do all sorts of homebrew stuff on it, and then one that's clean. Me, I only have one Switch, and I really don't want it to get banned, so yeah, I don't want to do anything risky besides what I've already done. And I'll check again. You can easily check if you are banned if you have been doing homebrew stuff by just seeing if you go on the eShop. I just did it, works fine, so I'm relieved. So I guess moving on from the Switch, I guess what I should finish up talking about the Switch with is Yuzu videos are coming, and I'm very excited to play around with Yuzu. So if you care to watch, then look forward to that. The Xbox, I'll move on the Xbox consoles. Okay, so I have a few modded original Xboxes. With the original Xbox, you had to hard mod it, I believe. I don't know. We have a custom dashboard, so I don't know if our consoles have hard mods or not. I honestly don't know. We bought them from a person, I don't remember who they were, but we bought the modded consoles off of them. But yeah, we can run, movies, game backups, whatever. I honestly don't use the homebrew on the original Xbox, because I don't really use the original Xbox that much, even though it did have some pretty good games like Halo. The Xbox 360, I know you have to hard mod or like JTAG that. I don't feel like doing that because I don't care enough. Because for Xenia, you can honestly just copy the games to like an external hard drive or a flash drive, plug it in your computer, copy the files, and then bam. So even like I don't know, maybe even discs. And with disc games, if you can find the right disk drive and then connect it to your computer, you can use DCUI to dump them. So yeah, I haven't found a reason to mod my 360. Same thing with my Xbox One, there's no reason to mod it. And same thing with my PS4, no reason to mod it. And then my PS2s, PS1, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, GameCube, like a lot of the older consoles that take more effort to mod, especially hard mods, because I honestly don't care enough. Like, I just don't care. I don't feel like modding it because, you know, whatever. And then also another thing that I remember happening was the classic consoles, so like the NES Classic, SNES Classic, Sega Genesis Classic, PlayStation Classic. Like you can mod those to have custom ROMs, or you can dump the ROMs off of them to emulate them on your phone or whatever you want to do. I honestly never bothered with that because I have the Sega Genesis, SNES, and NES Classics. I kind of just bought them just to have them because I like the way they look. I don't really play the older games because I don't know, you can play them on Switch or PC if you have the Sega Genesis collection, or I could play them on the actual hardware. So that's all from me for today. If you would like to see more modding videos or see me do stuff on Nintendo Homebrew, like on the 3DS or something, I'd be happy to do it, I guess. And bye.